These are deeply confusing days. We are both over and understimulated. We are both over and underwhelmed. We separate ourselves physically while we reach out ever more strongly for emotional connection. We are more exhausted, even though many of us are doing a lot less schlepping than in the before times. We are lost one day and hopeful the next. Time itself is confusing. As the days blend into each other and the seasons pass without the same markers, without the same rituals that ground us and make us who we are. Sometimes it feels like we're in a science fiction novel. And we're playing along and doing our best. But this isn't how it was supposed to be. Tonight on Shabbat Shuvah, we are called upon by our tradition to study our lives and to make an accounting of ourselves. A tall order during a time of such disorientation. Just when we so want to find meaning, this is when it hits us hard that we don't understand. The lesbian Jewish poet Adrienne Rich, as she reaches for understanding, in a poem dedicated to her partner, recalls, "I've sat on a stone fence above a great, soft, sloping field, above a green so dense with life, minute, momentary life, slugs, moles, pheasants, gnats, spiders, moths, hummingbirds, groundhogs, butterflies." And in this moment, she wonders whether we can, in her words again, make of our lives a study, as if learning natural history or music, that we should begin with the simple exercises first and slowly go on trying the hard ones, practicing till strength and accuracy become one with the daring to leap into transcendence. Rich ultimately laments in this poem, a lifetime is too narrow to understand it all. But our Jewish tradition teaches that despite our inability to understand it all, we must nonetheless make a study of our lives. This week's Parsha Ha'azinu is made up almost entirely of a long poem in the words of Moshe. If Adrienne Rich looks out across a lush green field, we imagine Moshe looking up to God and out to a gathered Israelite people in the desert as he proclaims, Ha'azinu, listen, let me speak, hear the words I utter. Moshe already knows that he will die soon, so this long poem is his final attempt to lead the people in a world without him. With an urgency and intensity, we hear Moshe offer his most essential messages at the end of his life. He reassures, all God's ways are just, a faithful God, never false, true and upright. He reminds, the people have sinned before, God has punished before, and will punish again. He comforts, the God who wounds will eventually heal and protect us from our enemies. Moshe loves the people, and yet this is a distinctly harsh prophetic voice, lacking in nuance, not wasting words. We can sense in his tone that there isn't a lot of time. And when Moshe finishes reciting his poem, he asks the Israelites, "Take to heart all the words with which I have warned you this day. Simu levavchem lechol hadvarim, ki lo davar reku mikem, ki hu chayechem. For this is not a trifling thing for you. This is your very life." And I hear Adrienne Rich again, as she looks upon her vista, also warning, there come times, perhaps this is one of them, when we have to take ourselves more seriously or die. When we have to pull back from the incantations, rhythms we've moved to thoughtlessly, and disenthrall ourselves, bestow ourselves to silence or a severer listening. Her insistence that we take ourselves more seriously now or die is a theme that echoes throughout our High Holy Day liturgy. Metaphorical, spiritual, or literal, what will be decided on Yom Kippur is who will live and who will die. Mi yichye u'mi yamut. With everything at stake, poets, ancient and modern, urge us to commit to a process of self-reflection. Rich, to give ourselves silence and then to listen, both to ourselves and to those we've wronged. Moshe says, Simu levavchem, take to heart the wisdom offered by those who love us, reminding us that our very lives are at stake. Let me add one more poet. My middle school English teacher was a kind, smart, and funny man named Fred Melcher. Zichrono livracha. May his memory be a blessing. In the 20 years since he taught me how to diagram a sentence, we stayed connected, ultimately growing an enduring friendship, learning from each other, and sharing our poetry. Fred's core piece of Torah was spelled out on a poster that was taped to his classroom wall. You can still see it now. It reads very simply, take time. Take time to notice. Take time to understand. Take time to know. He took the time to read all of the book, The Princess Bride, out loud to our class because he wanted us to cherish language. I will never forget that. And it worked, by the way. Make of our lives a study and take ourselves more seriously, says Adrienne Rich. This is not a trifling thing, says Moshe. Take time, says my teacher Fred, who died a little over a year ago. So how do we do it? What does a life of taking time mean? If we are engaged in a process of tshuva, repentance, atonement, return, often it goes like this. We gather some courage and we rush to approach the other person and we apologize sincerely. But why did we rush? Maybe we were uncomfortable. Maybe we felt embarrassed or ashamed. Or maybe we've simply run out of time and it's 2 days until Yom Kippur. And so we had to just do it. And I don't know anybody in that situation, but maybe some of us are. But there is internal work that must be done before we approach one another to make amends. This internal work takes time, and it is important, and it counts. Take the time to understand and listen, It is a crucial prerequisite to a lasting tshuva, because we all long to be known and understood. A true apology is one that grows from knowing and understanding the person we've harmed and the pain we've caused. We can ask questions that convey a genuine and loving curiosity. Not just, how could I have done better? Though that's important. But we can also ask, what was your experience? What could I understand about you that would help me to understand how I hurt you? And we must do this listening in two directions, to the person we've hurt and to ourselves. Because if we are not doing the work to know why we acted the way we did, if we don't take time, our tshuva won't stick. And guess what? We will be making the same uncomfortable phone calls around this time next year. Rambam, the medieval scholar Maimonides, outlines the steps of tshuva. And he teaches that a complete tshuva, a tshuva gmura, can only be achieved when we are put in the same situation with the same opportunity to do the wrong thing, and we depart from that path. And not out of fear, but out of strength and growth, because we have truly internalized that change. So if now we are a little or a lot lost, if now we are a little or a lot confused or angry or scared or lonely, this is our work. We must take ourselves and our lives and our relationships seriously enough to engage in a tshuva process that is year-long and lifelong. Even though the time is short before Yom Kippur this year, we can still make of our lives a study. We can still take this process to heart, and we can still take time. Gemar Chatima Tova. May we all be sealed well in the book of life.